Good afternoon, real estate fans. Alice Lema here, broker John L. Scott in beautiful but chilly Southern Oregon, with another edition of our weekly podcast. This week, 2022 housing market forecast. This is going to be really good. I've got three predictions that might influence your decision to buy or sell right now, and also into the new year. Okay, before we get to that, I want to give you an opportunity to subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with your friends. We're getting lots of great feedback from people. They're starting to try out some of these tips and getting some really positive responses back. So yay, thank you for that. All right, so with that behind us, let's get on with three predictions that might influence your home sale, home purchase decision now and in the near future. 2022 housing market forecast. Okay, first of all, let me say disclaimer. These are not my personal forecasts. I do happen to agree with most of these, but I've got 3 to 5 different experts nationally that weighed in this week. And KCM, Keeping Current Matters, one of my favorite websites. I go to them frequently. They came out with some charts that kind of compiled everything. So the first thing I want to talk about is mortgage rates. And Melissa's going to put up a little chart so you can kind of see what KCM published today. And it's really interesting because the predictions are kind of all over the board. You know, the feds keep talking about they have to do this, they have to do that to curb inflation. And now they're talking about, I think, the latest, and it's hard to keep track of it all, but possibly 3 different increases into 2022. Now, the reason we keep talking about this is because it affects the buyer's ability to have a budget within their monthly income. So if the interest rates go up, then the affordability goes down because their payment is higher, or they just lose a certain amount of purchase power. So for example, the interest rate goes up too much, then somebody who was qualified to buy a $400,000 house now might have to go down to a $350,000 house. And that's a little bit of a dramatic example, but that's kind of what we're talking about. And it's why buyers and sellers need to both pay attention to this. So we're looking at possibly having rates go up to the 4s, but we'll have to see. Like I keep saying, we've been talking about the Federal Reserve Bank raising rates since the crash, and a couple of times they've done it, and sometimes it was absorbed into the market and sometimes it wasn't. So we'll just have to see. But that's number one, is mortgage rates. And the reason the feds are doing it is to curb inflation. They're trying to use raising interest rates to bring down the prices of things, to try to slow down the acceleration of price increases. And it's not just houses, it's everything, right? Anyway, so that is number one. And I'm thinking it's going to impact mostly the entry level buyers and the sellers that may not have as much equity as the rest of the folks, or the sellers that want to buy so much bigger or so much more expensive, or a more expensive area that they can't quite pull it off. So I think those are the two market categories that are going to get hit first and get hit hardest. Okay. So that's number one, mortgage rates. Number two, prices. So we've had an extreme hyper acceleration in prices all over the nation, but hugely in Southern Oregon. It's just been quite shocking. And a lot of people are taking profit. They're selling their properties and either going somewhere else less expensive, or they are using that equity for something else, or they're buying bigger. But the point is, that's not sustainable. You can't have that happen long term. So the prices have to stabilize anyway, regardless of the interest rates. The prices need to come to some kind of, I don't want to say plateau, because there's always a little, up and down, but the prices need to start to stabilize and normalize. But a lot of us have been saying all year, it's going to stabilize and normalize at a higher place, where maybe 2 years ago we were down here and then we had this hyper acceleration. Now we're going to settle, maybe not in the middle, but kind of in the upper third. So the experts are predicting normal appreciation all the way up to flat. So my experience of the market right now is that we are flattening, and it is, you can see it going up and down, but I'm watching the back on markets. I'm watching the canceled listings of people that just gave up, and I'm watching the price changes. And you put that all together, and to me personally, it indicates the market is trying to settle down. And then you throw in some higher interest rates, and 3 rate raises in 12 months is kind of extreme. But like we keep saying, we don't really know if they're going to do it or not. So the prices are not due to go up very much more, and in some cases flatten out. But I also want to point out, nobody thinks there's going to be a crash. Okay. So if you're waiting for a huge correction, we just don't see that, at least in 2022. Okay. So that's number 2, prices. The experts are predicting a normal appreciation in 2022, all the way down to a flat, no more accelerated prices, but also no crash. Okay. Number 3 is the quantity of home sales. So if you have all this going on all at the same time, and we're coming out of the pandemic response, then the next question is, well, how many houses are actually going to be purchased and sold in 2022? So we have a little bit of a range here. We have some of the experts predicting that it's actually going to go down a little bit, because that group is predicting still a shortage. And we've noticed that some of the quantity of homes sold have gone down because there just wasn't inventory. And then we have all the way up to an increase, because, and this is where I agree, is that more and more people, at least in our area, are putting their house on the market. And so it's creating more transactions. So we'll have to see next year who's right. But it's not predicted to be a huge range of number of houses sold. It's anywhere from kind of flat to slightly down to slightly up. So that's number 3, is the experts are also predicting that the change in the quantity of homes sold in 2022 can be anywhere from a slight decline to a flat to a little bit of an increase. And that has to do with ongoing shortages, because sellers still are not putting their houses on the market. That's the prediction, all the way up to more and more sellers are putting their house on the market, and it's creating more inventory, and the backlog of buyers can just have a feeding frenzy. Okay. Which I'm more in that camp, only because I'm in the combat zone, I jokingly call it, every day. And because I'm seeing so many more listings come on in all price ranges, and they're getting absorbed at a little bit slower rate. So to give you an example, that we have more inventory coming on, and the people that are putting houses on the market that are move-in ready, either priced to sell or priced in the medium range, they're getting showings, but they're not getting as many. Some of that has to do with the weather, but not a lot, because we actually have what almost feels like a springtime market, early spring. But you might have fewer showings right now, but I'm telling you, the buyers that are out there, they're serious as all get out, and they're writing offers. The number of multi offers has gone down quite a bit. So again, we might have put a house on the market $400,000 last year and maybe had 6 offers. Now you might get 2, and they're far apart. So it's just, again, I'm thinking it's leveling off, it's settling down. And that's actually a good thing, folks. That's a good thing, because that is sustainable. Plus, a lot of us just need to catch our breath. A lot of the people that have been waiting to sell a house or buy a house because they really want some certainty in the market before they pull the trigger, this should be your year. Okay. I'm a fan, because I have a high risk tolerance personally. I like jumping when there's chaos, because I just have that personal philosophy that that's where the best opportunities are, but that's also the highest risk. So if you're a little more on the wait and see side, I'm thinking this could be a great year for you. Things should settle down. You're going to have some indication of the interest rate pretty early on. and then you can make your plans. Okay. So that's all of our predictions from KCM, who compiled several different experts nationally. And we'll have these charts up for you and you can look at them yourself. In the meantime, I am available all weekend. Would love to be your agent. I'm a great listing agent, great buyer's agent, work with a lot of first time home buyers, a lot of elders downsizing, and tons of investors. So give me a call, give me a text, 541-301-7980. That's 541-301-7980. Have a beautiful Southern Oregon weekend. We'll see you again next week. Bye now.